first on Guam.
KUAM News, winner of the 2022 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Culture Club.
KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Finish Line Express is now open at Cars Plus in Mighty. The state-of-the-art car wash is now open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
A homeless encampment in a Zonia neighborhood causing frustration. For neighbors, it's a public safety concern, but for the family who call it home, it's the only place to go. The full story coming up.
There was quite a bit of incorrect information stated publicly. That's what outgoing Joint Region Commander Rear Admiral Benjamin Nicholson pointed out in an op-ed released in response to the Eagles Field lease fail.
The USS Emory S. Land making a port visit to Saipan. I'm Tomas Maglonia with the story as the NMI government pushes for military tourism.
Half a day and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Thanks so much for making us a part of your day.
That's right. And behind the camera are Pete Anderson. Half a day, Pete. Well, now to it, growing eyesore has a southern community expressing frustration. A viewer sharing concerns with a homeless encampment in their Zonia neighborhood.
For neighbors, it's a public safety issue, but inside the encampment lives a family. They call it home, and it's the only place they have left to go. Our Mitsuki Hirayama bringing us the story and taking the extra step to see what can be done to help the family so they aren't displaced.
Multiple abandoned vehicles and other junk spilling over from an abandoned property in a Zonia neighborhood. For some who live along Ramon Kitaro Street, this homeless encampment is a public safety concern. A viewer reaching out to KUAM sharing there's been no action from the Zonia Mayor's office. Zonia Mayor Bill Kenga sharing the situation is complex.
As we go forward, it's been worse. Every time we try to help them, they put more cars and more stuff, and now it's really reaching to the other residents. There was a lot of action taken when I first became mayor, and I tried to research how that became for that family to be living there.
He says he reached out to Guam Environmental Protection Agency, the Guam Attorney General's Homeless Relocation Initiative, and the Guam Police Department. But it's not clear who really owns the property, leaving him unable to evict those who call the place home.
But
because for Zonia resident Benny and his family, this encampment is home and has been for years.
The only time we came here was that time when he comes the cops, the police, and all of us, you're on the APAs and stuff like that. And I said, you know, you can chase us out, but where am I going to go? See, the question is, where am I going? And money and nothing at all.
He claims his nephew owns the property and gave his permission to live here.
But you're willing to accept services if the mayor's office comes out and help?
Yes, probably yes. But the busy with work.
KUAM reached out to the Guam Attorney General. He tells us his Homeless Relocation Initiative team will be in contact with the mayor's office to help Benny and his family get the services they need. We will continue to follow the story, but it's clear that whatever comes next, the goal is to get Benny's family help and addressing the public safety issues expressed by others in that neighborhood. Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Thanks, Suki. Great job on that report. Well, a man accused of raping a foster child for several years is indicted by a Superior Court grand jury. Ike Alikios is charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct and twice with second-degree criminal sexual conduct. He was set to answer to the allegations in court today, but his hearing was delayed another week. Alikios is back in court on May 9th. Prosecutors allege Alikios was in a relationship with the girl's foster mother when the abuse occurred. At the time of his arrest, Alikios allegedly admitted to police that he was drunk when he molested the child, who he claims thought was his partner.
The man who allegedly bragged about killing Michael Castro will head to trial after the prosecutor assigned to the case left the Attorney General's office. Troy Damian was set to appear in the Superior Court today. However, the hearing was vacated after the court learned there was no movement since being told parties were negotiating a plea deal. The court will schedule a new trial date if Damian does not reach a new agreement with prosecutors. Damian and co-defendant Nicholas Moore both stand accused in the 2020 murder of Castro. Moore is being tried separately.
Disbarred attorney John Bell, who stands accused of holding his staff hostage and threatening them, will have his day in court after failing to reach a plea deal with local prosecutors. Bell appeared before Superior Court Judge Maria Senzon today. Parties were unable to reach an agreement after the alleged victims opposed the offer. Jury selection and trial is now set to begin on May 30th. Bell also asked the court today to be released from prison ahead of the trial so that he can take care of medical issues, noting, especially if I am to be incarcerated for an extended amount of time. It was said in court trial could last 10 days. Well, after months of often bitter disagreement between the governor and the legislature, the proposed lease of Navy land for $1 billion medical complex is now dead.
Lawmakers were highly critical of the terms of the deal and their lack of involvement, but now the top local military leader weighing in to clarify what he says was a bit of incorrect information. Nestor Lecanto reports.
The governor's decision to no longer pursue the Eagles Field lease follows months of contentious back and forth with the legislature, culminating in an override last week of a vetoed bill that now inserts lawmakers directly into the lease approval process.
This lease is bad. If I was sitting with the Admiral and he gave me this piece of paper to read it, first thing I would say, what part of stupid do you think I am?
Senator Jesse Lujan was one of many who questioned whether it was the military getting the better end of the deal. But Admiral Benjamin Nicholson has released a lengthy statement in response. He wrote that he has no issue with the outcome of the proceedings, but wanted to clarify the details. Nicholson says the intended lease was for a civilian hospital, not a military one, to replace the current GMH. He says even today, military personnel and their family members are sent to civilian medical facilities on average 4,000 times a year. Military health care pays for the coverage, an arrangement that happens routinely across the country. The Admiral says any new civilian hospital would be for every patient who calls this region home. He also outlined a number of specialized services that would benefit all patients. For example, a hyperbaric recompression chamber for diving injuries, specialized hemodialysis for trauma situations, and mass injury transport that could also accommodate emergency patients from the CNMI and FSM. The Admiral also addressed the $10 million payment senators had questioned. He said the Navy is mandated by federal law to receive fair market value for a lease. The original deal called for in-kind considerations, but they later agreed to a cash payment using federal ARP funds instead to address the Attorney General's concerns. Finally, he said, the Navy's commitment to net negative excess land transfers continues. More than 600 acres have been turned over, he said, and another 115 are in process. But as for Eagles Field, the Navy Secretary pledged in 2021 to help develop the land for a civilian medical complex, but since an agreement could not be reached, it will be developed to support other defense mission requirements. Nestor Lecanto, KUAM News.
Meanwhile, a group of original landowners still seeking return of the Lalo Manila property. Speaker Therese Chalahi saying she still believes it was declared excess land and is still seeking formal legal documentation that it isn't.
Want to see is we've got the last formal correspondence we have with the Secretary of the Navy in regards to this property is that it is excess and to the government of Guam for use for a hospital. And that was it. And we've asked and we've FOIA'd and we've continued to ask and we've continued to receive an answer from the governor and all agencies that there is no other document from the military saying otherwise. There are verbal statements, but nothing in writing.
Speaker Chalahi says GovGuam should stay the course and continue to demand the return of excess land and maintain that Eagles Field should be on the list. In the meantime, she believes the Lalo Group will be preserved.
And I think the landowners are smarter than us. They know for years, because they've had to live through this, that they know what to expect and how not to get their hopes up too high. But really, I think that's what they would want from all of us too. If we're asking our congressmen to, make sure that's very clear in with the Congress and laws, we want our government as a whole to be very clear that that is still our intention.
And while the Navy says it will retain the property, it has not identified specifically what it might be used for. We've got more news coming up.
Keep it here to KUAM, your leader in local news.
Watch KUAM TV 8 live on Peacock. Check out our live channel, NBC shows, live sports original programming, movies, plus so much more. Visit peaktv.com/local or download the app and subscribe today.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
I'm checking my vital sign, drawing my battle lines, going to war again. Feeling the rhythm inside of my chest, all I need is just a pen. I know I was born for this. I know I was born for this. I believe we can write our story. I believe we can be an army. We are the warriors who learn to love the pain. We come from different places, but have the same name. Cause we were born for this. We were born for this. We are the broken ones who chose to spark a flame. Watch as our fire rages. Our hearts are never tame. Cause we were born for this. We were born for this.
My popcorn chicken is back, only at Jack in the Box.
Welcome back to Prime Time. The USS Emory S. Land is on Saipan for a port training and visit.
They arrive amid increased calls for military tourism by Governor Arnold Palacios. Regional correspondent Tomas Manglotnia reports.
The USS Emory S. Land is visiting Saipan with 400 military personnel and over 100 civilians. The ship is one of 2 submarine tenders in the U.S. Navy and is homeported in Guam.
Coming to Saipan gives me a chance to be in a port without the Navy infrastructure and to simulate being in another port. And we're going to, while we're here for 3 days, we're going to rehearse the same operations we do if we had a unit coming and meeting us here.
The visit comes after the new administration pivots away from China towards an aggressive push for military tourism.
It's not specifically in response to any changes in political climate, although I'm very happy to hear that they want us here because we love being here.
We need all the help here and visiting our business here in our community, patronize our restaurants and all our markets here.
Also on board is the son of Saipan, gunner's mate and Chief Petty Officer Kevin Barbo. It's his first visit home with the Navy.
I actually got my family waiting for me in the parking lot, just waiting to come and see me.
He turns 30 years old on Wednesday and looks forward to resting and showing his friends around the island. He's also mission ready in a tense Indo-Pacific.
A message for the people here back home, hey, you guys are in good hands.
Tomas Manglotnia, KUAM News, Saipan.
Thanks, Tomas. CNMI Governor Arnold Palacios submitting his $115.4 million proposed budget on May 1st, which is mandated by law for FY 2024. The budget for appropriation is adjusted from the over $172 million anticipated resources after deducting debt service and legal obligations. Palacios wants to reinstate earmarked funds, including the hotel occupancy tax, to grow the economy. He also wants the legislature to amend the law to increase the business gross revenue tax proportionate to revenue earnings of businesses. The proposal also maintains the reduced 72 hours biweekly schedule for the executive branch. Palacios noting personnel make up 60% of spending. Now, Senate President Edith de Leon Guerrero saying, quote, "I am hopeful that both chambers will work in unison to minimize and or avoid impasse for a smooth and timely budget passageway ahead of the FY24 spending effective date of October 1st of this year."
The CNMI Department of Public Lands placed a moratorium on the issuance of homestead applications under the Tinian Agricultural Homestead Program. 422 applications are still pending under the program. CNMI DPL says that the move comes due to reduced availability of public lands, and they will reassess the availability of lands for the program.
We foresee that for the next 3 to 4, 5 years, we might not accommodate all the farming homestead applicant. So it was recommended by DPO that we look at it at suspending the program and try to catch up with what we have in the pot right now.
Mayor Alden says it's likely that 150 of the applications will be approved.
As Guam is heading into the summer season and tourism slowly picking back up, more employers are beefing up their workforce. Apple Pacific, the company in charge of Applebee's, IHOP, Pyology, Olive Garden, and Longhorn Steakhouse, is looking for new hires. A job fair was held at the IHOP restaurant in Tumon today, with open positions from entry-level to leadership roles. It's their second one of the year. Director of Operations and Marketing, Champ Camacho.
We can always start you off where you're comfortable at, and then we will train you to get to where you need to be. And if you have the talent and you have the drive to do well, then you will succeed in your field. And if not, it's a really good industry to start out in. It teaches you customer service and a little bit of respect for others in our industry as well.
Camacho hopes more people take interest in the food and beverage industry, adding even if the job fair ends today, you can still apply. All you need to do is pick up an application for many of their restaurant locations and apply in person.
A reflection of cultural and environmental preservation. Local artist Geraldine Datuin sharing this message through the debut of her first ever mural. Fresh off of her first solo exhibit, Datuin unveiling a piece of close to her heart called A Young Cruise Woman across the Sinahanya Pilas. This becomes the newest addition to GTA's Village Mural Project, an initiative aimed at uplifting the island's local talent. The focal point of the artwork is of Datuin's family friend, a Chamorro cultural dancer who grew up in the Sinahanya area, whose image now hopes to inspire others. Geraldine also incorporating native elements to the island like the ifit flower and the ocean.
And I think the connection between indigenous peoples and lands is very important to acknowledge, and it's very important for their stories and for their faces to be seen and heard and their stories to be told.
Geraldine's mural is now up for all to enjoy across the Sinahanya Pilas. You can also see her art on her Instagram at datu.sigwars.
I love it. I love how they have the ancient stick figures there on top of the body. I mean, that's what it is, right?
It's beautiful. Well, I love, first of all, that it said a young cruise woman.
I know. I think I was like, are they talking? She wrote a story about herself, guys. Now for a look at your world at home.
Here's a view captured off beachgoers building a sandcastle down in Tumon Bay.
This view plus more Chamorro music streaming on Isla Digital Radio. Just use that QR code on your screen.
She like DVDs, tattoos, and Paramore. She'd say half a mile como por favor. And I'd say sa dispensa tu kay di kulo.
Our new McDonald's Spicy Chicken McNuggets are just the right amount of spicy. A small to medium Sprite kind of spicy. Let's get a McFlurry after this kind of spicy. But if you get the mighty hot sauce, it's napkins up for foreheads now, kind of spicy. This came from McDonald's, kind of spicy. Because our spicy chicken McNuggets, breaded in tempura and made with cayenne, are just the right amount of spicy. Unless you remember what I said about the sauce. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Don't need to work, babe, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Dude, KFC's Double Down is back?
Double down, double, double, double down. Chicken, chicken, bacon, chicken, chicken, cheese. Double down, double, double, double down.
Buy a Double Down on the KFC app until March 18th for early beta access to Diablo 4.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Southern Guam has always been home to some of our most celebrated athletes and sports events. The villages in our island's lower half have always produced amazing talent with top-notch skill. And it seems in 2023, we just found our next batch of competitors to etch their names into Guam sports history.
I'm risking my toes for you guys.
The Mosquito Crab Festival returned after a pandemic hiatus, attracting island residents from all over, including several leaders who shared some institutional knowledge about the proper technique for picking up the pesky crustaceans.
What's the proper way to pick up a crab?
On the sides, now you gotta do like this.
You gotta come from behind. Do that again. From the side. There you go.
Wait, hang on. We need to see that again. From the side. And despite the minor but ever-present risk of getting caught between a pair of angry pinchers, we all waited excitedly for the great hunt to begin.
You really dressed the part to it. Like, okay, see, this is why he's the lieutenant governor. He's a really, really smart guy. He actually wore closed-toe shoes. I wore Zoris. I'm probably going to get pinched on my toes. You are. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay, they're letting him spread out a little bit. 3, 2, 1, go!
Competitors as young as 9 and as old as 91 took to the fairgrounds, rounding up the crabs with masterful efficiency. And the bravest and most clever hunters were rewarded for their bounty with cash from the mayor of Mosquito, Ernest Chargaloff, as well as the timeless pride of bragging rights for their satchel full of crabs.
To be honest, I just folded it, and then once they said go, I just started like grabbing it like. If you have more than 20, come on up.
All told, it made for a new island sports tradition, one that's got a long shelf life that'll far outlive the soft shells of the marine creatures the event celebrates.
3, 2, 1, go!
So will this year's record-setting pace of 2,500 crabs and all-time high harvest stand the test of time? We'll have to see at next year's Crab Festival, when we all look to break even more records in this latest fun sports tradition.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Guam
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist. Over 20 years of experience.
Only Pizza Hut lets you surround your favorite pizza with greatness. The one and only stuffed crust pizza tempts your taste buds with melted cheese stuffed inside that amazing crust. And at just $18.99 with one topping, the stuffed crust pizza is truly irresistible. So grab your slice of pizza perfection with cheesy goodness baked right into the crust. The stuffed crust pizza, just $18.99 with one topping. Only at Pizza Hut, the island's best.
Giving Every Tuesday is brought to you by J. Goodman, a happiness company.
Hi there everyone, my name is Inherito Acavo, a senior at George Washington High School and a KUAM Spark Ambassador. For our final segment, we have Devin Santos, a senior at Guam High School, showing us some of the next steps you could take after high school. Come check it out.
Buenas Hapade, I'm Devin Santos, a senior from Guam High School and a Giving Tuesday Spark Ambassador here at Bank of Guam to find out your next steps after high school. Come check it out. As student loans in the U.S. begin to rise and even triple since 2007, the cost of pulling out a loan could be detrimental in the long run. Since spring of 2021, the average student debt loan has increased by 2.7%, where the average federal student loan is $37,574 per borrower. Navigating through this world with a rising cost of living, the choices you make after high school could make or break your future. I pass it off to Sasha to tell you more about student debt and loans.
Hi, Havadi. My name is Sasha Blas. I am the Consumer Loan Manager with Bank of Guam.
What do you do at Bank of Guam?
What I do is I oversee the Consumer Loan Division of Bank of Guam. We handle personal loans, personal credit cards, auto direct loans, really your consumer level products.
When coming out of high school, what is the most important thing a student should have or consider getting?
When coming out of high school, the most important, financial products one should consider is definitely a savings account as well as a checking account. And I say that because you want to separate your savings funds, away from your spending funds. You don't want to keep that together. Additionally, credit cards would be a good product to have. It's a way for you to start building your credit.
Depending on the route a student decides, either work or college, what kind of financial advice would you give to them?
Whether you choose work or college, my best financial advice for that would be set your budget goals and really stick with it and be aggressive with it, because it's easy to say, okay, this time around I'm not going to put away some money, or I'm going to purchase this because it's something that I've been wanting to purchase. But the best thing you can do for yourself is just be aggressive with the goals that you set.
How can students prevent themselves from becoming in debt? And if they are already in debt, how can they stop themselves from acquiring more?
Really, the goal is to explore your options, right? Do your research, find out what programs there are to obtain scholarships or grants, right? And if you must, right, take out student loans, then only borrow what you need. When you apply for student loans, they tend to tell you this is what you can get, but it's not necessarily what you need to pay for school. So don't be tempted, right, to take out the full amount that is granted to you. Just take what's needed.
How are students able to apply for student loans, and what is the best route to keep their debt low?
Students have the option of applying for federal government loans as well as private loans from financial institutions. So if you're going the private route, you would apply directly with a financial institution. which is a bank essentially. Typically for private loans though, right, you would have to show a source of income to show repayment ability. If you don't have income, typically you would apply with maybe a parent, for example, to pull out that loan. For the federal government student loans, you can complete and submit through studentaid.gov, and that's a way that you can also find out if you qualify for any grants. So those are really your two basic options.
What is one piece of advice you would give to a fresh graduate?
One last piece of advice I would give a fresh graduate is to talk to trusted adults in your life. Reach out and find out, what their experience was as a fresh graduate and what worked for them. And you may find your own way, but knowing sort of the do's and the don'ts from other people who have been through these situations of freshly into adulthood, that will help you find your way.
Thank you, Sasha, and thank you, Bank of Guam. I hope you guys learned something important for your life after high school. Once again, I'm Devin Santos, a senior from Guam High School and a Giving Tuesday Spark ambassador, signing off and saying thank you for an amazing run.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Devin and Bank of Guam, and I hope they have inspired you to take another look into your future. Once again, my name is Enheritoy Calvo. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.
Giving Every Tuesday is brought to you by J. Goodman, a happiness company.
Great job again to all our Spark ambassadors. We can't wait to see the next group this time next year.
Definitely. Great job, guys.
Now let's check what you all submitted on KUAM.com.
It's time for your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutouts.
Hey, birthday celebrants! Happy birthday! On this Tuesday to day number 2 of month number 5 in this year. And that's totally cool because we say happy birthday to Kristen Sablan, who celebrates birthday number 10 this year. And your shout out says, happy 10th, pretty girl. May the blessings of love surround you always. We wish you are and will always be happy, safe, and healthy. And your family and friends all say God bless you. Oh, happy birthday, Kristen. Joe Cataro, happy birthday blessings to our dad and papa, and a very, very supportive familia is wishing you all the best. Tiana May, again, today we celebrate our perfect daughter. Happy birthday, darling, and never forget how much we love you. Happy birthday to Tiana. And belated birthday wishes going out to Becky Stevenson. Belated birthday shout out to Becky, who celebrated her birthday on April the 30th. Happy birthday to the mother of my heart. Oh, that's wonderful. And Vince Maguadog, happy birthday to Tenti, says the family. Vince was born on May 1st. Happy birthday, everyone, all around.
Happy birthday to all of you celebrating out there. That's your primetime show. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Stay safe and have a great night.
KUAM News Hotspot is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. There are so many things happening on our little island. It is our mission, our duty, our responsibility to distill all of it and bring it to you because we want to make sure that you are in the know of all of the awesomeness happening here in the 671 Hafa Day, everybody. This is the Hotspot. I'm Jason Salas. We are KUAM, and we're coming to you live on Peacock, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on KUAM TV. I hope you're having a good Tuesday. On the show today, friends from the Division of Environmental Health are here to talk about a poster contest that they are sponsoring, as well as we'll get an update on the mosquito surveillance program, important stuff that you need to know. Also, in Health Check, we are checking out the difference between emojis and emotions. Interesting. By the way, I always use like the crying like emoji. I don't know why. That probably says a lot. Also later, we have Claire Calvo. She is back with a episode of Weekly Renewal, and we are telling you the very latest what's going on in the world of real estate with House to Home. Well, as I mentioned, Public Health is in the house today. There are a lot of different staffers at that agency. We have two of them. Joining me on the KUAM couch right now are Leilani Navarro and Neil Tirador, and we are talking about a variety of things, guys. First of all, Hafaday, welcome to the show.
Hafaday,
right.
everyone. Thank you, Jason, for having us.
Good to see you, Leilani, in person finally. I know I interviewed you maybe a half dozen times during the pandemic, but welcome. And you know what? Happy early Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Very, very nice and very well
Same
deserved.
to your mom.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Neil, very good to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay, I know we're going to talk about this Mosquito program, but I like to lead off with super positive, super fun information first. So can we please talk about the poster contest?
Yes, we're so excited. We are finally returning with the Guam Food Safety Education Month poster contest. So we've had it since 2006 up to 2015. For 10 years, we've been asking the kids to submit the poster contest based on the theme for each month for a Food Safety Education Month. And after, you know, the pandemic, we're returning with that poster contest. And the theme for this year is when Baxter attacks, food guardians fight back. So just to give a brief background on this, the last winning poster contest in 2015, we were able to come up with 5 superheroes, which we call the food guardians.
Very timely too, because Guardians of the Galaxy comes out on Friday. That's going to be at Tango Theaters, by the way, so make sure to see how you can win tickets.
Yes,
I like that.
Yeah, so we have...
You guys are clever down there.
Thank you. Well, with the help of the winning poster contest from 2015, we have 5 characters: Dr. Food Safe, Mr. Chill, Lady Hotessa, The Separator, and I'm missing another one. Okay, I'm gonna get back to you on that one. But these 5 characters, the kids are asked to draw them in action doing a food safety protection.
And this is very important, of course, Neil, because we want to teach like young kids as well as, you know, older people through the creativity of the young ones and everything about things like spoilage, cross-contamination, you know, and a variety of things, right?
Definitely, yes. And, you know, the key part of public health is definitely prevention, and that it definitely starts with the kids as well as those in our community. So as much as we go out and do our inspection, right, what we do try to promote here at environmental health is the prevention part.
Now, of course, we on Guam, we know that, you know, you don't cook and you don't use, you know, like the tinfoil when you're using lemon. I mean, you can get very violently ill from that. But what else should kids know when they're, you know, because now, you know, people are watching this right now, the YouTube links being shared to them, and they're like, do this poster contest. But what should kids think of as far as, you know, making symbols, icons, and everything, putting their poster together?
Right. So I actually remember the 5th one is Mr. Washtastic. It's to promote hand washing. So we want the kids to know, you know, it's important to protect the food that they're eating by washing their hands before preparing the food and before eating. So for this poster contest, again, children from kindergarten to 5th grade are encouraged to submit their original artwork. So it has to be free drawn. So no computer graphics, letterings are allowed.
Also, no Photoshop.
Yes.
No Photoshop. That means no JPEGs, no PNGs, no animated GIFs.
Yes.
Okay.
So
maybe next time.
So
and what are the dimensions? Is it 8.5 by 11 standard?
Yes, it has to be in a portrait orientation, not landscape.
Okay.
Yes, because we want to make sure that when we display your artwork at our Food Safety Education Month Fair in September 2023 at the Micronesia Mall, they're all oriented in the same position.
Okay.
So usually, in the past 10 years, we get about 2,000 entries from all public, private, DODEA, and homeschooled children.
So anybody that's in kinder through 5th can enter?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
It's not just for GDOE or anything like that. You guys are calling on the entire island, because ultimately it comes down to, Neil, food safety affects each and every one of us.
Definitely.
It doesn't matter where you go to school. Like if you mix, like, you know, spoiled chicken with, you know, rotten eggs and everything like that, you know, that doesn't care where you go to school. I don't know why I just said that, but it makes sense in my head. Yeah. Why is this important, and how much does it help, you know, getting young Guamanians to participate in this, Neil, to make sure that we get that message across?
Yeah, and I believe it comes part of our culture, right? We share that hospitality through our food, right? And the food industry is so big, and, you know, a lot of our young Guamanians, you know, go to the food industry, work in the food industry, right? So it's really important to start young, right? And this poster contest really promotes that, right? Understanding the key aspects of food safety, right? And then growing up with that so we could practice it as they grow up and, in their workplaces.
Okay, and then Leilani, real quick, just about the medium. So we know it's 8.5 by 11 paper. It's got to be portrait, not landscape, everybody. So taller than it is wide, and it has to be on physical media. But because it's kindergarten through fifth graders, that means color pencils, markers, crayons, and everything. All of that's okay.
Yes, they can use any colored material to draw their entries. And I just wanted to clarify also, there's going to be 3 categories for this. Okay. So those entries from kindergarten to 1st grade, that's category 1. Category 2 would be 2nd grade to 3rd grade. Category 3 would be 4th grade to 5th grade. That way it kind of levels the playing field. Okay. And there's going to be 3 winners per each category, the 1st placer, 2nd placer, and 3rd placer. And we always, as in the past, we give out awesome prizes. We've given out iPads before, bikes, and Nintendo Switch in the past.
Wow.
Right now, we're still,
Did I mention I'm in the 3rd grade? I can use an extra iPad.
So, it's a great incentive. And
Very
also,
nice.
It opens up the conversation between the teachers and the students and the parents and the students.
That's correct.
Right?
Okay, so there is so much buzz going on about this poster contest, so please make sure to check out the Public Health's website to find out more about that. And I said buzz because that's allowing us to see, that's a segue, everybody. That's pro level. Because now we are talking about mosquitoes, right? And the mosquito surveillance program. Neil, can you give me an update on where we are with that? Because I know when people hear about this, when we put stuff out, it's typically when there's either a suspected case or confirmed cases of dengue fever. So how are we tracking the mosquitoes right now?
Yeah, so currently the mosquito surveillance and control program, we actively conduct routine mosquito surveillance. So we actually have our team right now in the field. So we kind of go to these areas that are, 1, either highly populated, or 2, places where it's susceptible for dengue or mosquitoes, from the surrounding areas to come into Guam. So we actually have 10 trap sites around the island, right? We cover all ports of entry, which is the airport, the seaport at the Port Authority of Guam, and kind of places where it's kind of populated, right? So we have some trap sites at some of the public schools. We have some trap sites in Chamorro Village, right? During the Wednesday night market when we have a lot of people come in. Right? So we try our best to cover areas where if there were a dengue outbreak to happen, we're able to catch that as soon as possible.
Now, we as civilians who make Guam our home, we want to be part of the solution, not the problem. Yes. And even though you guys have the airport, the Port Authority completely squared away and covered and everything, we can help out by making sure that we don't have like tires with sitting water or plants and everything. So what else can we do?
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, is the whole prevention aspect of keeping these mosquito populations low. So you could actually go to our backyard, see if there's any trash, pick up our trash. If there's any containers with standing water, flip it over, right? Just these little key things to do can really make a big difference.
Especially when it rains on and off these days, because you may not realize that, you've got, you may have a container that fills up. All of a sudden, 4 or 5 days later, you hear that buzz and, you're potentially adding something that we don't want.
Yeah.
Okay, so where can people go for more information just about the mosquito program or the poster contest?
Yeah.
Well, we have our social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram. Just search Guam DPHSS Division of Environmental Health. We have the poster contest rules there. We also regularly post mosquito bite prevention tips in our social media pages. We also have our department website, which is www.dphss.guam.gov, and then they can just go to the Division of Environmental Health, and the poster contest and other information about our programs are there also.
Most excellent. So Leilani and Neil, thank you for your time. You guys are doing amazing work, by the way.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason.
Valued members of our community right here, and making sure that they do their job really well so that you and I can enjoy island life. So thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, please stay tuned. There is more Hotspot when we return.
I'm coming back on top and I'm flipping the switch. After the voltage up, raise the hair on your neck. 'Cause I was dying from the start. We're powered up.
here with this experience today, I mean, top notch.
It helps you in the long run.
Make sure that you're always checking your health. It's not only yourself that you're checking yourself. Actually, you need to check each other, and then at the same time, if you have the right facility to go to, please go to the medical city.
Watch KUAM TV 8 live on Peacock. Check out our live channel NBC shows, live sports original programming, movies, plus so much more. Visit peacocktv.com/local or download the app and subscribe today.
Emojis are the subject of our next story, and those of us who are online, and who isn't these days, we use them all the time. We use them to convey emotion, to get a point across, to be sarcastic, but a recent study is starting to indicate that whatever you share in emoji form may actually indicate the exact opposite and has an effect on people. So here's the very latest.
Health Check is presented to you by the Medical City.
The small and sometimes silly symbols convey our emotions when words won't do. What's your favorite emoji?
You know, you're laughing and you're crying at the same time.
Probably either the cry laughy face or the girl that's going like this.
What is your favorite emoji?
This, you had your face.
Moyu Lu led a study out of Japan analyzing whether the emojis people send show how they really feel.
We need those yellow faces to help us to express.
Researchers studied the emoji interactions of more than 1,200 people and found happy emojis were often used to mask negative emotions, to make a message seem more positive.
Personally, I have done this before, and maybe I think people are doing the same things with me.
I do that to my aunties on WhatsApp when they send these videos that are just not funny.
The study found people were most likely to fake their feelings when talking to people of a higher social status or in a group chat versus one-on-one. Researchers also found a possible link between those who hid their feelings and mental health.
Managing emotions using those emojis can be weakly associated with depressive symptoms.
So the next time you're faced with a screen full of emojis, experts suggest choosing one that truly matches your mood. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Health Check is presented to you by the Medical City.
I communicate with Daniel almost exclusively in emoji and everything like that. It's really, really interesting. All right, equally as interesting is my dear friend Claire Calvo, and she has this week's installment of Weekly Renewal.
Weekly Renewal is brought to you by Calvo's Select Care.
Hi, I'm Claire Calvo, bringing you your Weekly Renewal. I'm here back with Mary Dama for part 2 about your own personal, down your family lineage line.
So in my apprenticeship, there was a point where we dove into our ancestry and we learned to connect directly to specific loving and benevolent ancestors to help us along this path. In doing so, I've connected with ancestors similar path. So I have an ancestor that helps me connect with plants, one that helps me with compassion, and also different guides that of God. They're just different branches, right? So they have helped me really uncover the truth of who I am and really my purpose, and to just embrace life.
Different services that you offer.
Yes, so for my shamanic services, I offer in-person as well as remote sessions. And the in-person session is a 2-hour session. The first half would be body work and the second half would be the shamanic journey. So what is a shamanic journey, right? So a shamanic journey is when the practitioner enters an altered state of consciousness. And some people achieve that state through psychedelics like ayahuasca or psilocybin. But in my practice, it was very important that I achieve those altered states only using a drum. Yes, I'm trained in this, but I also want to remind everybody that is listening that this is accessible to everybody. These sessions consist of an energetic body scan and looking at what is not in alignment with our energetic body. So that could be within the meridian, be within the chakras, or in their etheric body.
Right.
So we look at that and we bring that back to balance. Full of some sort of entity, of energy that was picked up with exchanges, right? So you can pick up energy from having conversations with people, or even being in a space.
Right.
So that can affect an individual energetically. And the core root of these shamanic sessions are to clear the energy, to ground the energy, to protect, and then to eliminate.
How about if someone too much for me right now?
Yeah.
Share whether for some people.
I also offer body work. And a lot of the body work.
So that would be massage.
That would be massage.
Which is insured.
Massage.
There's massage now that's insured, so that's great.
So that is usually my best sessions that are most fruitful for the client is custom signature session. I would assess what your body needs and, you know, tell what a person needs, you know, with the shoulder being up this way and then the hip elevated in this way. Just seeing is the first part of touching, right? Needs more work than the other side, and usually we are not symmetrical. So these bodywork sessions are really supportive of what your.
This is all so wonderful. I know there's so much more to cover, but just so people know how to find you, can you just share the basics where they can find you?
Yes, thank you. So you can find me at Earth Star Holistic. And for more booking information or more information about my work, you can head to my website at www.earthstarholistichealth.com.
Always a pleasure. And thank you. I'll see you next time on your weekly renewal.
Weekly Renewal is brought to you by Calvo's Select Care.
All right, the man in the back, Mr. Mike, said we're going to break, so we're going to break. We're back after this.
Are you up to date with your COVID-19 vaccines and boosters? Getting a COVID-19 vaccine, even after you've recovered from a COVID infection, provides added protection against the virus and protects you from getting seriously ill and being hospitalized. The CDC recommends that all eligible persons stay up to date with their COVID-19 vaccines and boosters per their recommendations. Get the booster for protection. Remember, prevention saves lives.
Howdy, folks. Nobody loves a Guam potluck more than I do. That's why I always bring my world-famous chicken, served any way you like it. Original recipe, extra crispy tenders, Kentucky Fried Wings, and more. Only at KFC Guam. Whoops. Well, it is finger-licking good.
House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Two things that you have to know, or two things that you have to know. One, I am, the least knowledgeable when it comes to real estate. That's why I bring on my dear, dear friends, Liz Duenas and Gina Campos here. So that's two things. Other two things. There's two sides to a market, two sides to a coin, right? You can either buy, or sell, sell. So Liz, I guess I will pose the question to you now, having set the table for that kind of thing. What condition is Guam's market in right now? And is it still conducive to making real estate purchases, even though, like with the specter of, a economic contraction, always looming over us?
Well, it's always a good time to buy. Of course, there are changes in the market, such as pricing, where the prices of homes have gone up. Also and the demand, of course, that's an important factor because we base our market analysis based on what is selling and the demand. But right now, there are still a few homes that are currently on the market where there is a shortage, but in terms of buying, it's never a bad time to buy. They're just different factors when you're buying, and you need a very good realtor to guide you through the obstacles in buying or the course of navigating through the process of buying. So the market right now, we still have buyers that are purchasing property, both single family homes and land. And people want to build, people want to buy something that's already built so that they don't have to hassle with getting a contractor, with the house plans. So everyone is different in terms of, number one, their buying power and also their desire to either build or to buy something that's readily constructed. So there are developers that are out there. A number of them are building 2, 3, 4 homes in certain neighborhoods. So those are still out there and are available. So Gina and I, our role is to help people navigate through the process and make it as painless as possible. And you haven't bought a home, so we've got to take you through that process one day.
I got to tell you, the toughest decision I'm ever going to have to make in my life when I finally do pull the trigger and buy a home is which one of you like facilitates that transaction.
Oh, we're going to both do it.
Would you guys actually tag team on making that deal happen?
Yeah, why? You could we'll both help you.
Okay, there you go. Because I got to tell you that thought and having to figure out that process and make that ultimate decision on who I would choose to like get it, that's kept me up at night.
You don't have to choose, Jason. We're both here to serve.
Oh, no thank problem. You. I appreciate that.
Hey, Jason, people call me Gina. People call her Liz. Where?
Yes.
There you go. Okay, so maybe now, Gina, now that Liz has given some context to the state of the island market, you know, and there is no real wrong or inopportune time to buy, right? Is this the current situation we're in right now? Is this more amenable to, like, if people aren't necessarily buying a home for permanent residence and, you know, like they're like, okay, I want a homestead, I'm about to get married, I want to have kids, I want to raise my kids, you know, I'm Guam through and through. Some people want to do like investment buying and everything. Is this a particular good time if you just want to like stockpile properties that you would then use as, you know, for other purposes down the road?
You know, depending on your situation, honestly, it is always a good time to buy.
Okay.
But what we're trying to, you know, what we want to tell people is, you know, if you're really sincere about getting into purchasing another property or purchasing your first property sometime this year, the reason we think it's a little bit better is because although prices have gone up, competition is still there, but it has gone down a little bit. There are some people, based on the interest rates, there are some people who have decided that this isn't based on interest rates, this is not the time for them to buy. And so they've taken themselves out of the market. So for instance, if you go, you know, you see a piece of property through your realtor or online, which is not, you know, honestly, I advise that you do, as Liz said, what's the most important thing about looking for real estate? Find a realtor you trust, someone who does this full time, someone who's dedicated to researching for you every morning, every afternoon, and every evening, because that's what it's going to take. Because although the competition has